Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Whole Perspective. My name is Kevin Delory, Chief Lending Officer with EPM, joined by my good friend, Senior Vice President of Wholesale, Kenny Phillips. Today, we are making history. We have our first EPM guest on. And it's not because she is now a member of EPM. It's because she has so much to offer. I just want to share a quick story before I introduce Laura. This morning, we had a great conversation. And the reason we wanted her to be on The Whole Perspective is because she brings so many different perspectives, the whole perspectives, to the mortgage industry, right? Whether it's women empowerment, whether it's, helping brokers be more successful, whatever it is, there's a lot to talk about today. Nice. But Laura has recently joined us as our Chief Growth Officer. And this morning, Laura, it was great, our conversation. We're talking about this industry right now is everybody that is new to the industry saying what's going on. They forget from 2000 to 2008, the rates were always in the sixes. So now all of a sudden it's like some new big thing and everyone's stressed. And this morning we're talking about everybody wants to feel comfortable. Everybody wants to feel embraced. And one of the things that Laura in her short time here already is trying to make the process less stressful, for the broker to feel more supported, because we're not, tripping over loans right now. Everybody's out there and everyone's fighting for the same loans because the market is shrinking and, margins are contracting. Everybody wants a trusted partner. And we, by adding Laura as our Chief Growth Officer, have really demonstrated to our brokers, we're committed to do that for everybody. And this isn't a show about EPM. This is a show about how, getting nuggets to help you get through 2022. Right. So, Laura, I wanted to share that with you this morning. I mean, I think this morning's conversation was so powerful of what everyone wanted. And people, we don't want to be self-serving on The Whole Perspective and talk about EPM. But with those conversations that we have as executives at EPM are things that are so helpful to our brokers and partners.
Right.
Agree.
Well, Kevin, we'd be remiss if we didn't give a little introduction and
Absolutely.
give a little history of Laura. So, as Kevin stated earlier, she's a newly appointed Chief Growth Officer at EPM. She's truly a trailblazer, well decorated in the industry, built her career around educating, supporting, and lifting others to their highest potential. She's a chairperson of NAMMBA's Visionary Program, MBA New Jersey's Women Committee. She's also Women's with Vision Chair and on the board member of the Mortflix. So welcome, Laura.
Well, thank you very much for having me, gentlemen. This is wonderful. And, Kevin, I just listening to you in terms of, yes, we have all been in this industry for a very long time. And you know what the number one thing that you can have as a trait of being successful in life, the number one skill is adaptability. And most people really struggle with adaptability because we get very comfortable in knowing this is the way it is. I'm comfortable in doing that. But see, that's what we all as an industry need to realize. Hey, that's one of the reasons why we're in the mortgage industry, is because we actually like the thrill and we love the chase and we love the problem solving. But when markets turn and things change, we have to look for that comfort. We have to look for that partnership and that trusted advisor to really know that we're in this together, right? We have to collaborate. We have to come together to share information. We have to be on the top of our game in terms of education. And really, that's what it's all about right now. It's about adapting combined with leadership in each of us, all of us. We're the leader of our own lives. We need to take that leadership role right now, because when things change, that's when you need it the most.
Yeah, no, Laura, it's spot on. It's so funny when the market changed, everyone was tripping over loans in 1920, 21. And, we made a change and it was time to come into a different environment and really where culture is real. It's not just something we put on a business card. It's not something we put on a wall. It's real, it's breathing. And I think everyone forgets, like I said in the beginning, from 2002 to 2008, rates were in the sixes. Nobody was jumping out of windows. Yeah, was there an inventory problem like there is today? Not really. Was there, all these investors gobbling up homes? So what they really want, I think, anyone listening to this as a loan officer, as a lender, they want trust. They want a partner they can trust in, and they want to make it so it's less stressful. You kind of already answered it. I want to, the first question was going to be, what do you think that, a lender, a broker can do to make sure that borrower's experience is less stressful? Because in this time right now, everybody's stressed. I got to get it done before rates go up. I got to get it done so I don't lose the property, because we all know there's probably 3 people looking for that same property behind the person that won the bid. So what do you think as far as reduce stress that as a leader you could do for your partners to make sure that they're less stressed in their transactions?
It actually starts with all about relationship, Kevin and Kenny. It's all about that relationship. As an originator, as a lender, as anything that you are in this industry, it starts with your why. Their why, not your why. It starts with their why. So if you're an originator and you are meeting this family for the first time, or you get that first phone call, or whoever it is, you need to understand, why are they looking for that home? Why are they interested in cash out? Why are they looking to renovate their home? Not asking the question of, just about the transaction. It should be the backstory. You want to know, are they thinking about expanding their family? Are they downsizing? Are they moving because there's a change happening in their employment? Are they adding on to their home because maybe they have an aging parent that's going to be moving in? And I'm going to tell you why you need to do that. It's not just about bonding and having that relationship. It's about when the going gets tough and all of a sudden you need to ask them for something that, oops, okay, maybe this one thing you submitted caused another question and now you have to ask for another document. What I need you to do is I need you to go back to that why, and you need to recenter them, and you need them to understand, well, remember, 6 months from now, you're going to have that mother-in-law suite. So for the aging parent, that's going to make it more comfortable for your family so that your parents no longer need to be concerned. You need to recenter them as to why they're doing it. Everything right now has to be about relationship, right? Not about a loan or a file or anything else. It's all about that family and that relationship.
Right, you make a
Kenny,
good point.
I just wanted to, we didn't interrupt. I'll let you ask your question next, but you just really, something you said resonated with me. I read a book over the weekend. It was The Go-Giver, and it said, the more you give, the more you receive. People get, you shouldn't do things just so you can keep score and get something in return. So to your point, if the more you give to your client, the more I give to my teammate, to my partner, at the end, it will just naturally happen that I'll receive more. So when you don't, to your point, if you don't look at it as the end goal, I get paid, I look at it as that borrower, what they really want. The more I give them, the more I educate them, all of those things that you just said, in the tail end, the more you receive. So, Kenny, sorry to interrupt you.
I was just going to say, she made some great points. She said a couple of things like, trust, right? The why, knowing the customer, making sure they trust you, because, recently, overnight, rates went up, right?
Yeah.
The feds hiked the rates. People can afford less now. And most consumers don't understand the why. And if you got, what they have in goals in life, know what they can afford now, right? I think I read a statistic the other day. It said that, for a house that was $437,000, with the recent hike, the payment went up $550.
Wow.
So educating them, right? Knowing that you're not trying to pull a wool over their eyes and that they trust you, and explaining the process so they feel comfortable in the transaction and knowing what they're going to do going forward is critical. So you made some great points there, Laura.
And great book, Go-Giver. I've read that book. It's a great book.
Yeah, it was.
No. Laura, you got an amazing career. You've been doing it a long time. Give us a little bit about your journey. You started in the call center and then you became, president, CEO of AFR. So give us a little bit about your history.
Yeah. Going back to that why, right? So I started in a call center as a young mom. It was out of necessity. I wanted to do something in the evening. Just so happened that the marketing company that I get hired by, they had a mortgage campaign. It was just a fluke that it was a mortgage campaign. But interesting part of how I rose to be in management at that company, here I am, I'm 21 years old, and I decide I want to buy a house. I don't know the first thing about buying my house. My parents didn't own a house. No one in my family ever owned a house in their lives. But I was calling people, they owned houses, so why couldn't I own a house? So one day, I go and I knock on the door of the vice president of this marketing firm. He doesn't know me from a hole in the wall. I'm just the nighttime telemarketing girl. And I knocked on the door and I said, "Sir, I'm Laura Brandao and I would like to purchase a home." And he's like, "Okay, what would you like me to do about that?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to work more hours. How can I get to work more hours?" And he said, "You know what? How would you like to stay after hours and run some reports?" Well, the story behind that is that night I did run those reports. And I sat there and I analyzed the reports. And I actually made recommendations on who would be better to put on what campaigns, how to increase their conversion rates, and how to actually move forward in that department. Well, the very next day, that vice president knew my name now and asked me to come and sit with him. I was promoted to running that entire division of that company. Well, that was how I got my start in the mortgage industry and quickly rose through the ranks. Well, in 2007, when all the companies were crumbling, and my company included that I was working for, I went and had an interview with someone that had an idea of starting a new wholesale division. I said, "I think I could do that." And that is how I built my last company that I started it from me calling brokers one at a time saying, "I'm Laura Brandao and I can do these loans." And it was $100 million company within the first 6 months in 2007 when everyone was going out of business.
That's a great story. It's kind of, Kenny, it reminds me of same type of story. We had the market had crashed and someone had said to us, "Find a small regional player that's looked up and coming. Everything is secular. It'll all come back around."
That's right.
And you just got to be strong enough to stick it out, tough it out, and do more than you did the day before. But your answer is almost actually, I was just getting ready to ask you another question, and it was based on, our first guest was Jamie Kavanaugh.
Yep.
So the reason I wanted Jamie to be number one is that EPMX, her and I had a conversation that really touched me. And it was about, and I was kind of oblivious to it. It just, that there needs to be more women at the top of the mortgage industry. And especially on the sales side, you see mostly it's male dominated. And I really never paid attention, right? Because I worked with a lot of people and there were women there, there were men there. And, she had made it clear to me that we need to do a better job. And, right after that, we hired 3 junior account executives to train in wholesale, all females. And Frank added 2 more to his team. And I heard a lot of the advice already. You gave a great answer. Like, it's really, you put your head down and you weren't letting anyone telling you no.
You're
knocked on the doors, you went after it. What advice would you give to a young lady starting out in the business or wants to get in the business to stand out just like you have? You stood out, you separated yourself from the pack, male, female, white, black, whatever it is, you have stood out. What advice would you give to them? And I heard a little bit already to make sure that they stand out.
Yeah, and great question, Kevin. And Jamie is a good friend. Love her to death. So listen, until 2018, I didn't know, I didn't even realize I was a woman in the workforce, because it didn't matter to me. It didn't matter if I was sitting at a table of men, women, whoever it was. It made no difference to me. And what you just said, head down, focus. I had a goal. I was going to hit it. Okay. But in 2018, the very first time I ever left my office to go speak on a stage was at the very first AIM event. Okay. So I was asked to moderate a panel and I got up there and I did my thing. And after that, I had a line of women waiting to speak to me. I didn't know why. And those women came up to me and they said, "Laura, thank you for being a woman mortgage executive and showing other women that they also have the same opportunity." Well, Kevin, in that moment, and Kenny, a light bulb went off in my head. And I said, you know what? I need to get out there and encourage other women to know that they have the confidence and the strength and the smarts and the opportunity as anyone else. So that's why I'm the chair of all those things. It's because I decided to do something about it. So my recommendation is, number one, be yourself. So many times I see a lot of people trying to be like a man or trying to be like someone else. No. You don't have to be like anyone else because your gifts and who you are and what you have to offer is beautiful and it's wonderful. And when you feel comfortable in your skin of who you are and you find your voice, that's when the opportunities start coming. So gaining that confidence, having a group, that's why I'm part of all these women's group, because I like to set my example for them. Finding a group that you fit in with. Not everyone is going to fit every person, but find that community where you can get that strength and you can share that voice and allow yourself to gain that confidence. Because like I said, once you know what your gifts are, we all have pluses and minuses. None of us are perfect. But once you feel that confidence, go for it. Because every one of us has a place and a voice and something to provide.
That's true. No, it's something we preach here, even with the new AEs here, junior account executive. It's all about confidence. And it's funny when you said, I'm listening to your story. The first thing you said is, I can do that. It was 100% confidence, right? So
I didn't really know if I could, Kenny, but that's what
it
I
was the
said.
confidence that you could, It was the confidence that you could. And probably one of the reasons you became such a great leader, and being a great leader, like what would you say to inspire, other leaders out there, other employees as a, head of a company?
Number one is listening. Number one, you cannot lead people until you actually understand where they're coming from. So, and that's something that takes great skills sometimes as a leader, because so many times we're used to giving. Oh, I'm hearing feedback all of a sudden. All right. A lot of times we're always giving the answer. So sometimes we don't quiet ourselves to listen to others, because as a leader, we need to know where to put people so that they excel. Sometimes how people come in might not be the best place for them. So by us listening, forming those relationships, and then placing them in ways that they can be successful, because everyone learns different. Everyone interprets information different, and everyone has a different style and voice. Once again, that voice, how we communicate, it's different. So by really listening and getting to know your teams, that is how you can be an effective and successful leader.
That's great. It's funny. I just read another book over the weekend. I actually read two this weekend. One was Win Fast, and it asked me to put my goals in front of me. And so I cleaned my desk. There's nothing on my desk anymore, so I can stay focused. And on there, besides some personal goals, it's be more attentive. And what I mean by that, and it's kind of what you just said, right? It's not even the listening. Watch people's interaction with other people. When you're in their presence, and in this digital age, it's very tough, right? It's because it is very tough that, in a meeting, you weren't in front of your computer. So today you're in front of your computer, so your email's over here, this is over there, and you're trying to concentrate on the Zoom meeting. But as I walk around this office now, and we have quite a few people in there, I am more attentive to not just what they're saying, what they're doing, right. The way they're, their posture, the way that they're interacting with each other, and learning to be more attentive to figure out, not everyone is open as I am or outgoing, and they might not be holding back until something's really affecting them. So that has been, when you just said that, has been my biggest thing that I've tried to change. Not even definitely listening, but also be more attentive of what that person, how am I making that person feel? Are they moving around? Are they doing this? Are they, what is going on that, even today I try to your point, I try to raise my hand when I want to speak, because I want to make sure that I'm giving the other person the opportunity to finish. So all of these things that we're saying, it's funny, I take a lot of notes, and it's not because I want to, write a book or anything. It's because I want to use this stuff. So anyone that's listening to us, I've taken so many good things away from everyone, and I can't wait for the next time, I'm in the company of a woman that says to me, what advice can you give me on what should I do? That conversation with Jamie, I would have been deadly if I had these notes to share that feedback, and the conversation would have been so different. So first of all, thank you for the great advice, but I just want to agree with you 100%. It's really making the effort to listen, making the effort to be attentive to the other person. And, that's what's one of the great things. And this show is definitely not about EPM, but it's a great thing about a great culture. So I have to mention EPM if I talk about culture. what has been the thing that has impressed you most or stood out to you the most with the culture here?
Yeah, I mean, culture is so important. And listen, I'm going to be honest with you. One of the reasons why I'm here is because the culture aligns to me from a personal and professional level. That is something that is vital to me. And it's one of my non negotiables. It is something that is that important. So I can tell you that that's one of the reasons why I'm here. Now, what has stood out? I think it's the openness of everyone to really feel, a lot of people say, oh, we love to collaborate and we'll all work together. No, a lot of times it's just words. Sometimes it's just people saying that. I feel that. I feel that openness to, as if I've been here for 10 years, right? Of, hey, let's do it. Let's jump on a call. Let's collaborate. Let's make that change. Change is not easy. That's how we started this conversation. Change is not easy. And especially when you bring someone like me in, and as you can tell, I have a lot of confidence. So when I come in knowing that, yes, I've been there before and I understand this, sometimes that's hard for people to accept. I can honestly tell you, because the culture is so strong, that people are not threatened by that. People do not feel that that's a negative. They feel, heck, this is awesome. That now all together, all of us together can be stronger and continue to just get better every single day.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's so important. A lot of people, when they change companies, look for new careers, looking for, the dollar. It's money,
Right.
financial,
Yeah,
right? And what you said is so important. You got to find somewhere that, is in line with your core values.
that's correct.
That's critical. And then you feel at home, right? And you want to work hard and help build something special.
Yeah, I would say this. I mean, anyone that wants to know how to get through, we ask everyone, we always ask for advice how to get through 2022 because everyone's, nervous and there's some change. It starts with culture. I'll tell anyone, if you're going to take
I
notes of
agree.
how to get through 2022, really take a deep look at yourself, take a deep look at your company and say, is it just a sign on the wall? Is it just a statement on a business card? Or do we live, eat, and breathe our culture? And I tell you that I got a call. I'll just share this real quick. And we don't really like to talk about EPM, but I got a call from a woman. And this was a powerful thing to me. It was an underwriter, and she said, Kevin, I am so happy to be here. I'm so happy to get up in the morning to come here because I feel appreciated. I feel heard. So if you want to get through 2022, anyone that's listening to this podcast, look at your culture. Everything else, if you build your foundation strong with a great culture, everything else will happen. And 2022 will be a banner year personally and everywhere in every other aspect of your company. So
Absolutely. We always say culture eats strategy for lunch,
That is right. That is right.
this is the other thing, if people don't know that I'm excited to have Laura here. No one knows Reno more than her. And Kenny and I were talking about this for the call. It's in this market with, again, the inventory being low, you're perfect and the rates going up. Your perfect house, your dream house may not be your dream house.
Right.
You may have to create that dream house out of something that was, I don't want to quote the words I used when I interviewed Egypt Sherrod, where you may take that shithole into your dream house. So what they are most excited about is I really believe that this type of market dictates the reno. I mean, what would you think? What do you think of that? If you're giving somebody a product, Laura, that they need to go out and add to their repertoire for 2022 to continue to build, what would it be?
Renovation is such a powerful product, and it's funny. I was having a conversation with our marketing team just yesterday, and we were speaking about before and afters, right? And we started looking at them. We started looking at some of our current projects that we're working on with kitchens and bathrooms and additions and things like that. And sometimes, listen, just like let's talk about 2022 with our vision, right? Our vision for the future. I mean, when you're doing a renovation loan, you're selling a vision, right? You're selling a dream of what that's going to look like in that future. But remember, tying back that why, remember the aging parents that are going in that in-law suite, that you're adding onto the home. You're giving them the vision for their future. It's a powerful product, not only from the loan programs and what you could do there. It's a powerful way to build a relationship not only with the families you serve, but with the realtors that you're partnered with. You should be doing educational webinars. You should be going out and showing these before and after shots so that not only can you get that business, you can help your realtors to be able to show that vision to the families that they're working with. So renovation loans are great in a multitude of ways, not just in the loans you get, but in the connections and the relationships you can make, so that even if you wind up getting other loans that don't have anything to do with renovation, this is the way you want to get in the door. So you need to become an expert. Don't think those are too difficult, I'm going to refer them. Absolutely not. This is a time for you to take those trainings. We'll provide you with that training. We'll hold your hand. We'll walk you through step by steps and be there so that you feel comfortable and confident. But don't just use it for that one loan. You use it for the relationship to get many, many more for a lifetime.
Great advice.
Great advice. And then as the market, starts to shrink a little bit, you got to be creative, right? You got to find all the products that work to put people in homes. So, great point. Time is flying by, Laura. I tell you, this is great. Got to ask you one more question, though. It's the staple question of our podcast. The podcast is really about defining value. So tell us how you define your value in the mortgage finance industry.
So remember I told you that story about 2018 and the first time that I was on that stage. My whole entire mindset, my whole entire perspective changed on that day. Because remember, I've been in the industry since my early 20s. I've been in mortgage my whole entire career. And I built a company to a top 10 lender. So I was always focused, right? And I'm a very focused person. But when I realized the impact that I have, not only on our industry, but the world, by sharing my voice, by putting myself out there, by being an influencer. An influencer doesn't have anything to do with social media. It has to do with making a difference in the world. I realized that not just me, we all have a value to what we do. Every single thing that we do, every conversation, every email, every text message, every social post, every single thing that you do makes an impact on other people. Don't ever think that what you do doesn't matter, because it does. And so I realized that my value and my mission is to always leave this industry that I love to my core better than when I arrived.
That is awesome. It's, geez, I don't know what to say.
I know.
I don't know what teared me up more, watching the new video yesterday or this. I mean, I wasn't ready for that.
The exclamation point there.
Mic drop. That's mic drop.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
it.
It says a lot about who you are, Laura, and it says a lot about why we are so lucky to have you on the team. And if, like I said, if anyone in the industry is listening, this isn't about what we're doing here at EPM. It's what you could take away from these guests. And I think Laura gave you a treasure chest right now, of things that you could take away, apply to your company, apply to your broker shop, whatever it is, and be more successful tomorrow than you were today. And that's all we all want to do. To Laura's point, I'm not competing with anyone. We're not competing. We're going to have actually some of our, what I perceive to be our competitors, other wholesale lenders on this show. It's about getting 1% better than we were the day before.
Right.
And Laura said it in exactly what she just said. She just continuously wants to improve this industry and leave it better than when she got here. So if you didn't write all that down, you got to go back and watch this. I think it's a great episode for anyone that is questioning, what do I do different in 2022? We gave you a lot here. Laura, thanks again. Well, again, welcome to the team. We're lucky to have you. And thank you for everyone to listening to the Whole Perspective podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, you could check us out at, actually, I see our new EPM Wholesale versus EPM Brokers. That's great. You could also check us out on our Broker Success community on Facebook and, on LinkedIn or at EPM Broker Success, as I said already. And thanks again. We'll see you next time. Laura, thanks again. Kenny, thanks again. Can't wait to be on the golf course. Very excited.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.